It was another away day to forget in a, well, quite frankly, season of away days to forget on Saturday afternoon when the Town dropped to a 4-0 defeat to high-flying Burnley. Alongside me to look back on the game is the Lutonian journalist James Cunliffe. Jimbo, this ain't going to take very long.
Well, then spring has well and truly sprung for me.
We will see if spring brings any sort of optimism or anything like that right after this intro.
I believe our supporters are the best supporters in the country.
I love this town. I love this town. I love this town. You know what I love about this town is actually you. Everyone in it has got this massive soul.
We're Luton people, and that's what we care about.
Hello everyone, welcome along to another episode of the Luton Town Supporters Trust podcast, the award-winning, longest-running Luton Town podcast, having scooped bronze in the Best Football League podcast category in the Football Content Awards. This season, the show is in association with Solid, providing opportunities, provisions and assistance so our academy can fulfil their potential. As I mentioned prior to the intro, we're looking back at Burnley 4, Luton Town 0, and I've got the Lutonian journalist James Cunliffe alongside me. Jimbo, at least it was a sunny day.
Yeah, small mercies. I'm quite full of the joys of the spring because not because of the football though.
No, definitely not because of the football. Yeah, tough afternoon. Let's be honest. It was only ever going to be thus. So that's exactly why I said in the preview, should we just worry about the two games that really count this week? I'd have been more than happy to have sacked it off. And hey, presto, we saw exactly why, because we are now going to miss probably the most influential player that we've got right now in the biggest game this club's had, probably since we went to Wembley.
Yeah, it's hard to argue against that, isn't it? It's, I thought that they'd lose that game, and I think the stats would say that would be the case as well. And I think you'd have to be you'd have to be the optimist's optimist to have predicted anything different. That being said, doesn't help when the game's over after 18 minutes. Although, to be fair, that was double the amount of time that the game was over at Watford, wasn't it? So, is that progress? Well, I don't know. This I'm being deliberately flippant, but yeah, when you argued for that, every sort of fibre in your body thinks that's not how it works, and that's not football. You've got to go there and try. You never know. The reality of the situation is this season, and maybe a bit longer, is that everything goes to the book, doesn't it? Everything goes by the book. And that is exactly what happened. What wasn't supposed to be within that book was a nasty little chapter about losing Cal Naismith. But it's not like somebody did this to him. You've got a booking after 11 minutes. Don't jump into another pointless challenge in the middle of the park. It's, like you say, it's supposed to be one of the most influential in years. Should be experienced. Everybody can make mistakes, of course, but how big is that one gonna be? It obviously cost Luton that game against Burnley, but does it then cost, like you say, the biggest game there's probably been since we went to Wembley? It's a worry.
Yeah, time will be revealed on that. Yeah, I mean, listen, I largely put the case out there about, I use the term sacking it off, but, concentrating on the other two games more as a discussion topic, because otherwise we're just talking the same things every single week, aren't we? But there was a reason why I didn't want anyone important on the pitch on Saturday. And there it is. You're absolutely right. Naismith's done this to himself. It's not like he's got injured by playing or anything like that. But you just look at the tactics that were employed, and I'm absolutely fine with the tactics that were employed. 5-4-1 formation. The 5 were on the edge of our box. The 4 weren't too much further on, and the 1 being Elijah was in our half of the pitch as well. Come at us, try and break us down. When you overcommit, we've got a little bit of pace either side, and we're going to have a go at you, and that's absolutely fine. So using that 5 right across the edge of the box, you didn't even need Cal Naismith in that 5. They're literally standing there, heading or kicking a ball away that comes near the penalty box. They're not getting up the pitch. They're not playing a high line. They're not pushing forward. They're not attacking. They're not doing anything. And that's why I suggested it. Listen, the first question that Matt was asked in his press conference by Jeff Doyle on Friday was, how are you going to manage Cal Naismith through these 3 games? Everyone connected with Luton knew it was going to be an issue, that he can't play 3 games in a week, or we don't think he could play 3 games in a week based on the fact that he's barely played 3 games since November. It was just not a game to play him, and now we're going to pay potentially the ultimate price. But hey, Matt did go with him, and that's fine. He'll have to live with that decision, coupled with what happened. So 2 changes to the team. We thought Elijah would come in up front. It was definitely a game to give Carlton Morris a break. All the striker was going to be doing was running from centre back to centre back to centre back to centre back and try and rush them into passes and things like that. So Elijah came in for Carlton, and Zach Nelson came in for Jacob Brown. Nelson played on the right-hand side of the midfield 4, Asgard on the left, Clark and Walsh in the centre, and then the back 5 was a back 5. There was no wing backs or anything like that. It was a straight-up back 5, which was the same back 5 that played in the win against Portsmouth previous to it. The one thing you would say is the tactics were working absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. They hadn't had a shot. They hadn't got in our penalty box. They hadn't really done anything. In fact, Luton probably should have had the first goal of the afternoon when Alfie makes a run down the left-hand side. He's played in. The ball comes across, and for some reason, Izzy Jones tries to control it. Whereas if you think back to the Watford game, he just hit it on the volley. You do that again yesterday, chances are that might end up in the back of the net because he's a lot closer in, and the ball's really, really good to him, but he doesn't. He controls it, and there's no shot on. But
well, maybe the Watford one is wide because it was significantly wide on that one. But yeah, it was a good chance, and yeah, I'm perfectly fine with those sort of tactics when you go to a team that's so much more superior than you. You know, whether you like that or not is the situation, isn't it? And you know, you can argue and debate to the cows come home why they are so superior after being inferior last season. That's a legitimate debate. I think we've had it a couple of times here or there throughout the season, but they are. And so sit back, soak it up. They don't score a lot of goals, as we said in the preview. And
they don't score many until we arrive.
I was going to say the funny thing is, but it's not funny at all, is it? We conceded 8 against them this season. Did a bit of maths there, I did, didn't I? Hopefully I've got it right. 16.33% of Burnley's goals have been scored against Luton this season, which says it all, really. But if Naismith hadn't departed and they weren't playing against 10 men, would they have... I mean, there's a high chance they might have still won, but would they have racked up 4? I mean, they could have had more. They probably should have had more, and they probably show you why they haven't scored that many. But it's just one of these things that Luton's propensity for just shooting themselves in the foot is quite staggering. It really is, because like you say, for 18 minutes playing all right, the system that you've set up working quite well, it's not a purist, it's not a thing that you're going to enjoy, it's not visually, it's just pragmatic, and that's the best you could hope for. But you know, and then he goes and does that and then he's off. So I think everybody pretty much would have known at that point that the jig is up, and this is a very long 70 minutes. It was.
It's a bloody long 70 minutes. Yeah, that is for sure. It was one of the longest 70 minutes I've enjoyed this season, and I've enjoyed every single minute of this not particularly enjoyable season, has to be said. That propensity to shoot ourselves in the foot is why we're highly likely to be a League One club next season. There's lots of things being bandied about, and yes, of course, they're all contributing factors. You know, the people blaming the chief executive, people blaming the recruitment team, the managers, the players, and everything. Ultimately, whichever combination's been on the sideline, whichever combination's been on the pitch, whoever's been signed and everything else, this team has within it a love for loading that gun and going bang, bang, bang in quick succession and shooting itself in the foot. That's 40 goals we've conceded away from home this season now.
There's a mistake in every game. And even when we beat Portsmouth, we're going, we've got away with that by the skin of our teeth, because there was a massive mistake that Ogilvy should have scored from. And I mean, they probably should have had a penalty as well, but maybe Luton did as well. But even then, and I said in that game, if you're coughing up chances to Portsmouth, who did the sum total of nothing really in that game, in front of goal that was, then you're going to do that against bigger sides and they'll probably punish you. But that's not the only way that Luton have been able to do that to themselves. They've found many, many different ways. Not many ways of keeping them out, not many ways of scoring them, but many, many ways of shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah, and this is just the latest one of them. I mean, you're absolutely right. Look, I don't think the first yellow card's a yellow card. Naismith wins the ball. He can't stop. You know, once he's won the ball, he can't just come to a shuddering halt. There's going to be a collision. It's a contact sport. Laurent does really, really well. He lays down until, hey, presto, the yellow card comes out. And then guess what? He's up on his feet and no problem. They're very clever at what they do. Scott Parker teams are.
Is it a contact sport, though? Because like you say, that it annoys...
We should be a contact sport.
It annoys so many people. If you make the challenge and you win the ball, but then you take the man, it seems to be a free kick all the time. And maybe this is just showing our age. Maybe it's we've been around the block too long and our hair's grown. But you used to be able to tackle people.
I don't necessarily mind it being a free kick, Jimbo, because he does collide with him. But you've got to do something extraordinary. It's got to be dangerous for it to be a yellow card, or there's got to be an element of danger to it. He doesn't go in there trying to hurt him. He goes in there to try and stop the counter attack, to win the ball. He does win the ball. He quite clearly wins the ball. It goes in a completely different direction. At the away end, you can absolutely see that he wins the ball. He can't just stop. The referee has to accept there is going to be a collision. Just go over to him and say, look, your foot was a little bit high there. You won the ball, but just be careful next time and move on. But this referee, from start to finish, he might have been wearing an orange shirt, but he had absolutely no affinity with Luton whatsoever. I'll get it out there right now. He was not the reason Luton lost the game, but he was a heavy contributor to the reason why it was 4-0 in the game. And let's hope that these 4 goals don't matter in the grand scheme of things. We're pretty sure goal difference won't, so, you know, that's fine. But once he's on a yellow card, that second challenge is an absolute mare of a challenge. Josh Brownhill, first and foremost, is on the halfway line. He's got his back to play. He's only going to lay that ball off. Just nudge him and let him lay the ball off and then go back and recycle into your position. You know that, Cal. You've apologised on Instagram. You've done wrong. But unfortunately, that decision's going to have consequences. Hopefully, not the size of the consequences that it could have on Tuesday night. But ultimately, we are missing a guy on Tuesday night who would be massive. And it's why I didn't want him anywhere near the pitch yesterday.
Once you got over the initial shock of it being, oh, great, so the game's over after 20 minutes, is it now? And then you realise, bloody hell, he's not going to be there for Cardiff. It's a huge game. There's nothing that anybody can do there. I mean, I know you wanted Bloomfield not to pick him and rest them, keep him safe and all that. But once you're done, you don't kind of expect that sort of naivety, really. And the other thing is we've talked about it a lot. Momentum. You get some momentum from Portsmouth, and you try and of sorts. Momentum is a low bar that we're talking about this season. You get some momentum, and you go, oh, but then it's Burnley, so maybe that momentum ends. That's fine. Maybe it's not fine. Obviously, it's not fine. It's not fine.
It's anything but that.
It's not fine, but it's what it is, and you just don't want to go there and get absolutely pummeled, which is what it was.
Yeah, looking at the way the game went, looking at the way they lined up, looking at the shapes of the two sides, I'm pretty confident 11v11 it doesn't end 4-0. They have one genuine attacking player on the pitch in Lyle Foster. The two wingers are both central midfielders, stroke fullbacks that are playing wing. Marcus Edwards has got a serious reputation. He came through Tottenham's academy, been out to Sporting Lisbon. He's on loan at Burnley, and he was talked about through all of the English age groups, but he was a central midfielder when he was talked about. He played wide on the right. Jadon Anthony played wide on the left. He played left back in that Scott Parker Bournemouth side that Cal Naismith ironically scored that fantastic goal in the last minute against. And then the central midfielders, Brownhill, you wouldn't call him an attacking midfielder, even though he gets into the box and scores lots of goals. Laurent and Cullen, they're very definition of defensive midfielders. That's why they don't concede many. That's why they don't score many. This would have been a 1-0, 2-0 at best, had 11 stayed on the pitch. To be honest, even then, they're not cutting us open 10v11. You can quite clearly see after the red card, the first thing I did was look over to Bloomfield just to see his reaction, because he was livid from the first yellow card. He was right on the side of the pitch because that happened right in front of him. So I looked over and you can clearly see he's putting 4 fingers up and 4 fingers up and then 1. So we're going into a 4-4-1. And I made the reference to someone I was at the game with that is very much reminiscent of Portsmouth away. Really sunny day, early sending off. We went 4-4-1 that day. And actually we looked the best we'd looked defensively all season that afternoon. So I thought, well, all isn't lost here. He hasn't changed the shape. All we've done is taken the middle man out of the defence, but they've only got one striker anyway. It's not like them defenders are going to be over-occupied or anything. And again, that's exactly how it proved. They weren't really getting anywhere. Of course, they were sending more men forward because, we're bunkered up even deeper at this point, as you would do, 10 men. But then, for some unknown reason to me, he changes and he brings Mark McGuinness on for Liam Walsh, and we go to a 5-3-1. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand why Mark McGuinness come on. He's going to replace Cal Naismith in the heart of the defence. But their game plan in the first sort of 25 minutes, both when Cal was on and when he wasn't on, was to get the ball out wide and try and find double ups, 2v1s out wide. But they couldn't do it because down the right-hand side we had Izzy Jones with Zach Nelson in front of him, and they were doing a pretty good job on, I think it was Perez, the left back, and Jayden Anthony. And then on the other side, they were trying exactly the same thing with Connor Roberts and Marcus Edwards. And again, weren't really getting much joy. Alfie wasn't going forward. Tello Asgard was dropped deep. But then as soon as he made that change, Zach Nelson creeps in, Asgard creeps in to make a midfield 3, and all of a sudden they're getting 2-on-1s either side of us quite regularly. The first goal comes from that. Edwards plays Roberts in on the edge of the box. Now, if we've got a goalkeeper who's got a voice or any kind of command or organisation, that goal doesn't happen because he just screams at McGuinness, leave it, because the cross is well overhit for the 2 strikers that are in the box. You can see it from the away end. They're getting absolutely nowhere near it. It's bypassed the one at the front post, and the geezer at the back post, who I think was Anthony, is on his heels. He's definitely not getting that cross. Scream at him, leave it, leave it, leave it. Get out of the way, and it goes out for a throw in the other side. But of course, we've got Mr. Quiet in goal. He can't therefore leave it. He tries to play it out, puts it in the back of the net, and from there on, we could all have gone home.
Yeah, and when things can go wrong, I've said it before, they go wrong. But they go wrong with bells on, don't they? And, the bloke brought on to come and shore it up, he's barely on the pitch, scores an own goal. I don't think you can really criticise him for that touch.
Someone's got to be screaming blue murder at him. Leave the ball. The striker is beaten the only striker who can get anywhere near that. Scream at him. Leave it. Get out of the way. Do anything. Whatever your command is. Kaminsky's watching all of this unfold, right? Just scream at him. Leave it. Leave it. Leave it. He's got enough time just about to get out of the way of it. Job done.
Well, yeah, it was job done for Burnley. I mean, the record going into it was so ominous, and we highlighted it. And I mentioned this to Bloomfield on the pre-match press conference. The first goal's got to be so crucial. And he was, fair to him, he was confident. He said that if they do get one, we're confident we get one back. But he probably wasn't thinking that he'd have to do it with 10 men. So it was never likely, I don't think. I mean, we're not at that point in the game discussion yet, but they played better in the final throws of the game, and they did it in the entirety before that, in an attacking sense. But it's just this sort of crushing realisation, isn't it? That's it. 18 minutes, that's it.
Yeah,
Half an hour, it's definitely it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then whatever it was, 6 or 7 minutes later, it is absolutely it. I mean, listen, the referee doesn't cover himself in glory over the course of the afternoon. So they put a cross in. Zach Nelson's bringing it out of the box. For some reason, the referee won't get out of his way. For some reason, Zach tries to dribble around the referee. Next time, just plough through him. If he's not going to get out of the way, it's not your responsibility to get out of the way of the referee. It's the other way around. It's the referee's responsibility to get out of the way of you. Just plough through him. Because if the ball hits him, he's got to stop play, hasn't he? And do that stupid nonsense of dropping the ball back to the team that does it. So next time, we've just got to plough straight through the ref. Anyway, he doesn't. He tries to dribble around the ref. Obviously doesn't see Brownhill the other side of the referee. Brownhill takes the ball, sends it out wide. Anthony does a nice little basketball move to get the ball under control and crosses the ball in, and then Foster beats Clark to the touch to tap in, and 2-0. If you ain't gone home already, seriously consider it now.
Yeah, I mean, I know everybody's frustration with the ref thing, and maybe that was the savvy thing to do, but he's a teenager.
I'm not blaming him. It's on the ref to get out of his way.
You know, maybe a more experienced head would run into somebody like that, but I'm not sure you would. Anyway, I think there was enough chances to try and snuff out the chance before it actually ended in the net after that, so I don't think that's really much to blame for it. I mean, I think probably the fact that it hits Anthony's arm is, and again, not spotted. But yeah, at half time, and it's just like, what's the point, isn't it? It's just hopeless.
Yeah, he ruined the game. There's no doubt about it. At half time, listen, I've gone there wanting no senior players involved. I only made 3 changes when I gave my team lineup in that preview. But at half time, you might as well take anyone who's significant off. He didn't. To be fair, he did after about 15 minutes of the second half, but we're 3-0 down at that point. Game's absolutely gone. I mean, the third goal, it's laughable officiating, really, you know. I mean, if he runs it out anymore, he's in the cricket ground behind the stand.
Yeah, for VAR, I suppose.
You shouldn't need VAR. The line is in line with the...
You should be able to see it. But like I say, it's like, it's not just one thing that goes wrong; it's everything that goes wrong.
That's kind of good that everything's gone wrong in this game.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you're
we don't want to be saving things for going wrong on Tuesday night. We want to get rid of absolutely everything and leave them at Turf Moor. And you hope they've done it.
If you're looking for omens, then sure, but it's a pretty dicey place to be when you're hoping for good omens to go your way, isn't it? Really, but it's kind of where we are in the season. Yeah, it's so infuriating. And then, you get Clark has the temerity to say to him, by the way, that was out. I probably use some more colourful language, but I think sometimes it's justified,
I suspect Clark's reaction would have needed your bleeper machine one or 2 times. But even so, let's be honest, they're getting a bit pissed off with the officiating by this point. There was also one in the first half, towards the end of the first half, where Anthony just lays on the ball, somehow gets a free kick for it. And I've seen the highlights back, and the camera pans to Bloomfield, and the quizzical look on his face just summed it all up, really. And Clark was getting annoyed at that incident. He was in the referee's face, having obviously just seen the handball for the second goal as well. I mean, to be fair to the players, they are giving everything. Seen on social media that they don't care or anything. That wasn't the case yesterday. They put in everything that they had yesterday. Okay, there would have been an element of it in their heads that we're not getting anything from this, so let's not go balls out sort of thing. But at no point did their heads drop. At no point did they... At no point was this a Middlesbrough hatchet job where they just waved the white flag and said, go on, have as many as you want. It was never, ever like that. But they were clearly getting cheesed off with the officiating, as we all were. And then, like you say, he just makes a point to the linesman. He is the captain. I pointed that out earlier in the podcast. Therefore, he has a right to question a decision. Okay, he's probably, because of his built-up frustration, he's probably questioned it a little strongly. But again, read the room, ref. You don't need to give him a yellow card there. I mean, as luck would have it, he goes off shortly after anyway to be saved. Maybe the yellow card sped up the process. I don't know. But, it's just, they were on our backs all afternoon. They really were, these officials. And you just want basic decisions to be made.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? And I fully understand Jordan Clark's frustration. Clearly, I've never played professional football, but you can relate it to lots of other things in your life where frustration gets the better of you. I've got one from today. I have got very soft pen pushing typey hands, and I tried to do some DIY today. I always have this problem when I try to do DIY, and it's like it's the hope that kills you. It's the optimism that kills you. I think I can do that. It's just a shelf. I'm just putting up a shelf. It took me 3 hours to put up this shelf. I'm not lying. Half of that I had to go and get some other raw plugs and stuff. So it's not all me, and I'm nailing it. I'm measuring it. I've got a spirit level. Got the whole thing. Drill the holes. One of the holes is still wrong, and I'm swearing like bloody murder at that. And the missus is telling me to behave because my little boy's in the same room, and I'm like, I just can't help it. It's that bad. It's that annoying. I've done all this preparation. I've tried my best. I've drawn it out. I've got my pencil and everything, and it's still wrong. And I'm sorry. I effed and jeffed like you wouldn't believe. I hope he doesn't pick it up, but that's frustration for you.
Is indeed, mate. Yep. I can't even label the fail to prepare to fail at you, can I? Because you clearly had prepared. Do you know what? Next time we get absolutely trolleyed 4-0 and there's nothing for us to talk about, can you film said incidents so that we can at least play them and give everyone something to enjoy after all of this? But
I'd have to get the bleep machine out. I mean, I am terrible at it. It's supposed to be easy. I've watched YouTube videos and everything.
You don't think they're done in one hit, though, do you?
No, now I'm thinking that there's professionals that go, here you go, bosh, 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 do that and you'll be all right. It's not. It's never like that. That's like, Zinedine Zidane going, here you go, you just have to bang it in the top corner. You have a go. Slip over. I'm terrible at DIY, but I can't afford to get a man to do it for me. So I'm going to have to continue with this cock up, and there is going to be more. I'm going to have to put some more shelves up, but it doesn't fill me with a lot of hope.
Just save your shelves till Wednesday because we might need some content for the post Cardiff podcast. Zinedine Zidane doesn't hit it in the top corner first time. They just don't show the times he misses it. They just show the first time, Jimbo. That's what these videos are. I mean, we're professionals. We put this out at the first time without no editing. But that's not how it works in the real world, my friend. And if you believe that, you will believe absolutely anything. Triple substitution not long after that. Been lots of questions about where Lamine is.
I was enjoying more talking about DIY then, to be honest.
Well, me too, because it gave me the opportunity to take the you-know-what out of you. But, needs must and all of that. I mean, we don't really want to talk about the football anyway, to be honest, but we are acutely aware that this game wasn't on UK TV, and obviously there are only 800 or so of us up there. So, many of you would be looking at us to give our reflections on this game as opposed to the Watford game where we started talking about Christmas because that was on television, and if you wanted to watch it, you could watch it.
Biscuits crossed my mind, I have to say. I don't think it was a biscuits game. Get the same result and same outcome at Cardiff, we might think about what snacks we're going to be eating and reviewing them for you. But
if that happens on Tuesday, that ain't a biscuits game. We are picking this set up, we are taking it to the shop, and we are filming absolutely everything on all of those shelves, and we'll go through all of it. I promise you, because I can't do this again, Town. Please don't make me do this again. But yeah, no, bringing it back to the football. There's been lots of questions about where Lamine is. Well, that's where he is. He was on the pitch. Suddenly came on shortly after that third goal, actually. I think it was about 5 or so minutes. He came on for Jordan Clark, who was on the yellow card. Jacob Brown also came on for Elijah Adebayo, and Millie Ali came on for Alfie Doughty. No change in formation. Everyone came on and played the position that the player that they came on for. So, Millie Ali played left wing back. Jacob Brown played up front. Lamine played in the centre of midfield alongside Zach Nelson and Tello Asgard at that point. It looked better. Listen, did they declare? It's hard to tell because in terms of their attacking up, they're not a side that, when we played Sunderland or Leeds,
Mm-hmm.
their attacking output was like shit hot. And then you could clearly see that the wheels had been pulled back and the gears had been eased off. Burnley aren't like that. So you can't discernibly tell if they've eased off or not. The one thing I would say, the level of substitutions they brought on suggested they didn't. Manuel Benson came on. I mean, he who seems to ping everything in the top corner from the right-hand side, cutting in. I think he did it at our place, didn't he, in the Premier League? He came on. Nathan Redmond used to play for Southampton. He also came on. Ashley Barnes came on. Kind of maybe freshened it up, but I wouldn't say that, they declared or anything like that. So some of the football that we played at 3-0, and Matt got a lot of criticism on social media for talking about that period of play and how he was proud of how the players kept on going and things like that. Proud might be a strong word for fans who were there, but ultimately we did play some football, and we should have pulled a goal back. Izzy Jones goes on a lovely mazy run, a run that we've seen him do at least once per game that he's been on the pitch, goes past a couple of people into the centre of the park, gives the ball to Miliali, who plays a lovely little ball in between the right back and the centre back, who decided to look at each other first and foremost, then crashed into each other, which was very Luton-esque defending, really. And Jacob Brown was like, happy days, I'm clean through on goal here. If he looked up, he could have seen Miliali in the centre, but I'm old school. My striker, if my striker's not hitting that, he's not my striker for very much longer. He just had to lift it a little bit more. He kept it a little bit low and Trafford managed to save it. But, probably, did we deserve that goal? I think for the fact that we kept going, probably we did. And it would have been nice to at least have got a goal against them in both games because no one else has done it this season. But ultimately, as however has been the case, our quality in the final third was lacking.
I thought he should have just swung a left peg at it because by the time he tries to steer it back onto his right foot, that gives Trafford enough time to come out and close down the angle. I think whether you think it or not, he spread himself wide. I think you just got to swing a left foot at that at that angle, but that's confidence for you, isn't it? Yeah, they did have a go, and I don't begrudge Bloomfield for saying he was proud of that at all. I think with all of this, you've got to view it for a sort of lens of he's saying this to us and you guys out there, but he's also
trying to keep them going.
He knows that whatever he says will also get back to players as well. The idea that when they tell you they're not watching things and not reading things and not looking at things is nonsense. It gets back to you one way or the other. Whether you're looking at it directly or somebody looks at it and tells you about it anyway, it will get back to you. So there's an element of him having to keep their confidence up.
Well, the other thing is he's looking for small glories, isn't he? And this is a season of small mercies, really, isn't it? You literally cling on to 1% of a positive as opposed to 100% of a positive, don't you? And to be fair, that was it. That down to 10 men, those fresh legs that had just come on that I mentioned from Burnley, quality fresh legs. If that, that could easily have got nasty. And okay, the fourth one adds a gloss to the scoreline that wasn't really needed, but that was literally the last kick of the game. The referee blew for full time as soon as he'd waited for his favourite striker of Burnley to score the fourth goal. Ashley Barnes, they're getting poor defending, but listen, if players are out on their feet having chased a ball around for 70 minutes with 10 men, you can't really criticise them too much for that. And therein lies the problem, Jimbo. Forget the fact that Cal Naismith should be playing or anything else. We've had to put a hell of a lot more effort in yesterday with 10 men, that even if we were just strolling around with 11 men and lost 4-0, but reserving energy, we'd have still been a lot fresher on Tuesday night. Now they've got to recover from a much lower base. To go again on Tuesday night, forget the result. They might have still had 60% of the petrol tank. But by chasing shadows and all of that for as long as they had to do, they might now only have 40% of the petrol tank left. And obviously we need them reserves up as high as we can. From a what could go wrong did go wrong that you really didn't want to go wrong point of view, yesterday could not have gone any worse.
No, disastrous. From 18 minutes to finish, it was disastrous. Regardless of little pockets of positivity, the main talking points are all bad ones, and that is a huge worry. I mean, we knew we were going to have to play Burnley before going to Cardiff anyway, which was, I guess, I know it was the point of your comment about sacking it off, even though I think we came around to the idea that wasn't going to be the case. But have we all just walked under ladders or something this season? Because it's starting to feel a bit like that. It really is.
Yeah, look, it's going to be hard, but we'll try and finish this podcast looking upwards, looking forwards. Look, we got what I thought we were always going to get yesterday. I know I predicted 0-0. That was always the best case scenario. The likelihood was, okay, maybe not 4, but the likelihood was we were going to lose 2 or 3-0. Just look at their results. That's how it is. It's not me being negative. And before everyone shouts at me, Portsmouth beat Leeds. Portsmouth's home record is very, very good. Leeds' away record's a bit sketchy. Luton's away record, yeah, it's not even on the chart. It's fallen off the bottom of it. Burnley's home record's almost impregnable. There's the difference between those two results. When Leeds come here, I won't be talking about sacking games off or anything else because Luton are at home. Luton's home record as a long-term thing is very, very good. I wasn't talking about sacking off Sheffield United at home, for example. I was talking about Luton winning that game. It's just literally Luton's away form married up with Burnley's home form and everything else. And what followed it was why I suggested that. But some positives. So Matt gets a lot of stick on social media particularly. I've got to be honest, I'm not hearing it in the stands too much. I think people who go to games are they attach blame to other people, and we've covered that. Notably chief executive, previous managers, things like that, players, a lot of the time as well. But he gets a lot of stick on social media. But I thought tactically, to start off with, that was fine yesterday. I accept I'm contradicting myself because he played Naismith and I didn't want him to, but, he's allowed to do things I don't want him to do. That's fine. But in terms of the game plan of stopping Burnley, I could see what it was. I could see where it was. It was different. We've never played 5-4-1 that I can remember, and it was a discernible 5-4-1. Don't get me wrong. You could still see how we were going to attack. There weren't going to be many attacks. There aren't many attacks against Burnley. Look at the possession stats. I think it was something stupid like 76-24. But I could see the plan, and I've sat on this podcast quite a few times this season and asked for one of them, and I've not been able to see it. So from that point of view, I thought he did all right yesterday, Bloomfield. I didn't like him changing and bringing McGuinness on and going back to the back 5 and leaving ourselves exposed out wide, because ultimately that's what got us. I'd have liked him to have been a little bit more strong in his ways, that when he said we were going to play 4-4-1, play it for a bit longer. Maybe then if they open the scoring, then change it as a damage limitation job. Or get to half-time and then you can talk to everyone at half-time and you can organise it then. I kind of thought that was a little bit quick. That might be me being picky. Listen, we're 10 against 15 really, aren't we? And so maybe I'm kind of being a little bit harsh there, but certainly at the start of the game, I thought he got the tactics spot on. There isn't a single person that went through that away turnstile yesterday that if the steward at the door had said, you're going to draw 0-0 today, you just got to give me your signature, who wouldn't have signed it. There isn't one person in the away end who would not have signed it. We'd have signed it, wouldn't have watched the game, we'd have gone and had a few more pints. So that tactic was absolutely fine. So he's getting a lot of grief, probably over the period of games that hasn't really been good enough, the 10 games. But yesterday I thought tactically he was all right. And that makes me think that he can turn this around from yesterday to get us into a position where we can put a performance on Tuesday if things go our way. Which is all we've got now, isn't it? We've got to look forward to Tuesday. No point looking back on yesterday.
Well, yeah, you've got to quickly get over that one.
You can't take anything from it either, can you? Because 18 minutes is... You can't say, well, my game plan didn't work because it didn't have enough time to be utilised. But you can say, well, it was working.
Yeah, I mean, I see that. I saw that on social media. I do wonder. Happy to be corrected. I'm not saying this is a stone cold fact, but I do wonder. The game wasn't on telly, was it? So, are they seeing that? Are you seeing the game? Are they just reacting to? Which is fair enough if this is the case. Just reacting to a season's worth of absolutely terrible results, and the people seeing that the results since Bloomfield's come in haven't picked up, and that's fair enough as well. I think he understands that it's a results-based game. But yeah, some of them weren't necessarily what was being played to some of the comments, if you get what I mean. So that makes me wonder that it's just a reaction. And
People will be disagreeing with me watching this, but I can only put on here what I see with my own eyes. You know, everyone who watches this will know that I go to every single game. I'm not someone who sits there who doesn't watch the game. I don't even watch games on TV. I go to every single game, and I can only say I don't have an agenda. Of course, I absolutely love this football club. I'll always love this football club, whether we're Premier League, Championship, League One, whatever. I've done the conference years. I've done it all. It's not a problem to me. But you guys want me to say how I see it, and that's how I saw it yesterday.
Some want you to say how they see it, not what you said. Honestly, that is some of the reaction.
But I can't do
happens,
that, can I?
no.
I can only say how I see it. And when I call for a plan, and I do see a plan, I can't criticise for that plan being there. Did I agree? If I agree with the plan or I don't agree with the plan, and as it happened, I did agree with it yesterday. I saw the merits of it. I can't ask for a plan, get a plan, and then say, well, what bloody hell did you go with that plan for? In the same way that I can't really be pissed off that we lost 4-0 when I sat here on Thursday or whenever we did the preview saying we might as well sack this off and worry about the Cardiff game. For me, it was all about the Cardiff game. Still is all about the Cardiff game. The good thing about yesterday, apart from the tonking we took and the fact that we all had to go up there and sit there and endure it, nothing's really changed at the bottom. We're still 5 points adrift going into that Cardiff game. The only thing that's changed is we're missing our most influential defender.
Yeah, and that's the big thing we've spoken about already. No, I mean, I've been a lot more down after results than that. The scoreline, if you look at it just by the scoreline, is quite heavy, but there's a mitigating factor of 10 men against
15.
15, and against a team that just don't concede goals. It's incredible record. It's a second tier record, isn't it? That 12 run of games that they had. So yeah, I got over it pretty quickly. It's just the focus and the nerves on the Cardiff one now, because it feels so huge. And you'll probably hear this a lot, that nothing will be decided against the Cardiff game. But I think we've all had the experience of this season enough to know that it very well could be. It really could be, and that's the worry. And you go into it without one of your most seasoned and experienced and best players, and that's not, well, it's not in the slightest bit ideal, is it?
Nope, which we'll cover when we do the Cardiff preview. Yeah, I mean, I guess where I'm coming from with those Bloomfield comments is, in my head, I'm looking to next season, really. I've not given up. I'll go to games, still cheering Luton on, still obviously wanting Luton to win. I don't pay 30 quid to go into a football stadium and hope that I watch my team lose or anything like that. But in my head, what I've seen over the last 8 months, I'm pretty much resigned to knowing where we're going. And if they happen to surprise me and stay up, then I'll be more delighted than anything before. So I'm kind of looking at it, what can Bloomfield give us going forward? Well, the fact that he changed the formation tells me that he's got a bit of tactical flexibility about him. Obviously, I've criticised him for going back to a back three. Still don't like that. You know, I'm pretty consistent with my views. I don't like the back three. I don't like the fact that January's effectively been wasted by going back to a back three. I understand the situation. I think it was you. Someone asked him at a press conference why you've done it, and he said because it suits more players in the squad, and that's absolutely fine. But ultimately, before Rob switched to a 4-2-3-1 at QPR, I think our record was 7-4-11. 7 wins, 4 draws, 11 defeats. So it might suit the players in this squad, but they're not very good at it.
Yeah.
You know, ultimately. And then we had January, where we recruited for a 4-2-3-1, where we were all positive going to Sheffield Wednesday because we made some really good signings. And 2 weeks later, we're back at this 7-4-11 formation that quite clearly doesn't work, will not work. So he does kind of have to win me over a little bit from that point of view, Bloomfield. But the tactical flexibility that he showed yesterday is a notch up on the radar for me. I liked what I saw. I'd love it even more if we go and play 4-2-3-1 on Tuesday night. I don't expect us to, for that matter. There's still things that I'd like to see more of. Why have you signed Nordas? Where are you getting Nordas on the pitch if he's not coming on in a game that's dead and buried yesterday? That might be answered on Tuesday night. He might start on Tuesday night, and that's why he didn't come on. We'll come on to Tuesday night on Tuesday night. But one man I've been calling for, where is he? Lamine Fanu. He appeared yesterday. He did all right. Listen, we have to cut him some slack. Pretty sure he's observing Ramadan.
Yes, yeah.
So from 6 o'clock in the morning, listen, I'm not up early enough, but roughly 6 o'clock in the morning, the sun comes up, and it's definitely 6 o'clock at night that the sun goes down. He can't take on any food or fluids. Is that how it is when he's fasting? I think it's something along those lines.
They must be able to have water, aren't they? I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
Nothing at all. Well, that's incredible.
Listen,
to be able to play any sort of sport, if that's the
listen,
case.
I might be wrong on that, but clearly he doesn't have the same nutrients that a professional athlete would have. So to come on the pitch and put himself about, all right, he was only on for half an hour, credit to him. And there's lots. He's not the only one who observes Ramadan and does it, but they get my respect, to be honest with him. To be honest with you, because I wouldn't want to fast and play elite level sport, even if I could.
No, I don't think anyone looking at these screens could look at the pair of us and go that those two lads have ever fasted at all.
I mean, if they do, Specsavers will love to see you.
Yeah, no, we just did an episode about crisps, didn't we? So
we are very much signed up to the seafood diet, aren't we?
Yeah, seafood, eat it. Yeah, absolutely. No, yeah, I mean, listen, you've got to try and find some levity where you can, haven't you? But yeah, if you're really trying to find positives, they're very small, aren't they?
Of course.
But that's the kind of situation we're in. Hopefully, if you're talking about bad luck and all the things that went wrong, maybe you've got it out of your system. History says it probably hasn't, but you hope, don't you? We're back on the old hope.
Yeah, I just want to end on a bit of a positive looking ahead to Tuesday night so that we don't all go there doom and gloom. So at least, we go there thinking that we can do something, even though, somewhere deep down in our depths of despair, we know maybe that's not going to happen. The other one, Millie Ali, we haven't really seen enough of him to judge him. Very sporadic with his cameos. 20 or so minutes at Sheffield Wednesday? I think he got slightly longer than that in one of the home games, and he started the game at Sunderland, didn't he? Came on for about half an hour yesterday. I would be amazed if left wing back's his position. I would. Certainly defensively, there's nothing there for him to play left wing back. I think it was very much we need Doughty off this pitch, and who can I possibly put there? Sorry, mate, but you're going to have to go there. But going forward, he does look exciting. And if we can ever get to a formation where we can play some bloody attackers on it wide out, he does look tailor-made for one of the positions.
Yeah, he does. We just need to see more of him, don't we? We haven't seen really
a formation that lets him get into it.
Yeah.
Listen, I've done that. I've done it to death. But I do like he's raw. We were told that when he arrived. But I do like the attributes that I see from him. Pace. It's the one thing we've been calling out for all seasons, pace. He's got bags of that. But that pass that he put through to Jacob Brown, that was a really clever pass, actually, because I referenced right at the start of this podcast that we had a couple of chances of getting players in that first half, and they overhit the passes and they went straight out of play, much like they did against Portsmouth last week. That pass into Jacob Brown, I know the two defenders had to crash into each other. You've got to thread needles against Burnley. They're very defensively astute. But it was perfectly once the defenders had crashed into each other, Brown didn't need to break his stride or anything like that. He literally needed to go in on goal and finish. It's a really good pass, actually, for someone who barely had a kick in the last month.
We're looking at all the players that they've signed. You've highlighted a couple there. It's like, well, what's the point in signing if you don't play them? Although he said, and this was the reason behind Fanning not being picked, is he was going for experience. But you can't deny that when those players came on who are fresh, young and new and don't have all that baggage, that they looked arguably the best they had all game. There is a point to say, or an argument to be had, that Burnley had taken a foot off the gas, of course, but
not defensively they hadn't though.
Well, no,
offensively they might have done, but
they've got
this proud clean sheet record.
Yeah, they've got a record to protect, but maybe it is a young gun situation. Well, certainly one of the old heads isn't going to be able to play on Tuesday.
Well, this leads me back to before we started waffling on about crisps after Watford. I basically said, do away with the senior ones that aren't doing it and get these younger ones in, and they might just flip a result or two out of nothing. So what have we seen since then? Christ Makosso, basically first choice now. Has to be first choice. Didn't do nothing wrong again yesterday. And to be fair, when McGuinness scored the own goal, wasn't a senior player who went up to him, put his arm around him and said, don't worry, mate, we'll, keep your chin up, all that. Oh, it's Christ. There's a lot of senior players on the pitch at that point. A lot of them. His goalkeeper being one. His goalkeeper was shouting at him. Shame he weren't shouting at him when the bloody ball come over. He might have left it then, but Makosso just put his arm around him like he was a 30-year-old, not a 20-year-old. Billy Ali impressed yesterday. Lamine Fanu, when he came on, I think Matt called him excellent. I think that's pushing a little bit too far, but he was solid enough. There were no Sunderland mistakes out of him or anything like that. You look at some of the other youngsters that we've got in this squad. I mean, Zach Nelson, we haven't talked about him yet. He was really, really good. That's a different tactical role for him, wide out on the right, but defensively. Generally, when he's been wide out on the right, it's been to get at the player rather than to do that rigid defensive role. He did it very, very well. There's a lot of good young players at this club. I'd like to see more of them. I don't want to see more of them on Tuesday night. Let's go at it on Tuesday night. The win over Portsmouth did get us back in the race. Let's try and overtake a few, get closer to overtaking a few on Tuesday night by winning on Tuesday night. But if it doesn't go our way on Tuesday night, then get these younger players in and let's see exactly what they've got, because they're the ones that are going to be here next season.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was going to say. That's the point. You probably might be likely to see that if you're going to see it at all, would be at that stage. And I'd have no problem with that. Because we won't be out of it after Tuesday if it doesn't go away. But it's a very, very long, hard road. You can't keep passing up opportunities to beat the teams around you. And that's just the size of the task, and everybody knows it. So hopefully they can get something. If not, maybe it does lend itself to this almost Sheffield United-esque run at the end of a season where you try and implement the changes before you get to it. I hope we don't have to do that, because you still hope that they can get out of it. But we'll see.
Yep. Time will tell on that one. Just to add a positive tinge to it. Look, we know full well this last month has been really, really tough. I mean, even the win was a tough watch. So just to add some sort of glow to a disappointing afternoon. There was a few positives there, and never lose sight of the fact that we've got some good youngsters at this club, because ultimately they're the ones that we're going to need, aren't they? Not just the ones that we've signed. Zach was in the team yesterday. Joe Johnson's been in and around the squad. We've had Josh Phillips as well. There's one or two others that are highly rated. Jaden Lucas scored 2 goals for Grimsby yesterday afternoon. You would imagine he's going to come back into the squad at some point. I know Rob in particular really liked him. I don't see any reason why Matt, being a central midfielder himself, wouldn't like him. So yeah, there's some good young players to look forward to beyond this season, or maybe not beyond this season. Time will tell with that. But obviously, we'll focus for the Cardiff game on this season. No correct scores from any of you for this one. A couple of you went 4 for Burnley, but you had Luton scoring. pushing it there, that was. So the leaderboard will be pretty much as it was. I've got to confess, it's my old man's birthday today. We've been out at lunch and things like that. I haven't had a chance to update the leaderboard. Do you know what? Mate? I needed more of that than what I actually had to get over yesterday. There weren't enough in the pub for me to get over that, but we'll get it updated after the Cardiff game. We'll get that updated for everyone, and we'll see exactly where we are with 9 games to go, which there will be after that Cardiff match. You've got a point back on me though.
Small mercies, eh?
Yep. I didn't enjoy the third going in, but at least it meant you didn't get the correct score as well.
I thought I just went 1-0.
Oh, did you go 1?
Yeah, just 1-0.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, just 1-0.
I didn't even need to worry about the third goal.
Yeah.
Why didn't he put the flag up? Might as well have put the flag up now, hadn't he? But there you go. Hey-ho. If you went to Burnley, well done. Support was really, really good. We were getting it from all angles, weren't we? That noisy lot in the blocks to our left. I don't know what Kaminski's done to them. I don't know if he's murdered someone up there or something, but they do not like him. That's got to go way beyond just playing for your rivals, because usually you get bored of that after 15 or 20 minutes. They were like cheering when he went down injured. To be fair to Kaminski, he came off his line. Just found out why he didn't come off his line, because he immediately went down injured, but they were cheering at him. And then when the last goal went in, they were winding him up, and it was like, whatever he's done something good to them. Poor old Amari'i, who's played for exactly the same club, getting none of it. But Kaminski, I don't know what he's done. I'd love to know what he's done. But he was getting absolute dog's abuse. It's very, very weird. Well done if you were in the away end. It was a tough watch, but we saw it through, and hopefully we get rewarded with better on Tuesday night. And I really, really hope Mark Crowther is rewarded with better on Tuesday night. I mean, this guy has walked effectively the length of Luton to Burnley in 8 days. So he walked Luton to Rugby as it was, and then he done a 3-day walk, 3 days of his walk at David Lloyd, where various people attached to the club went and saw him and helped him and things. And then he completed his walk Friday and Saturday from Stockport to Rochdale, Rochdale to Burnley to watch that. I mean, we're feeling for you, Mark, but he's raising money for some really great charities, and he's well over the £2,000 mark now, which is fantastic. At least he's getting rewarded from a financial contribution, because walking all that way and seeing that,
he ain't getting the points.
He definitely is not. But yeah, congratulations, Mark. Huge effort, and he's walking to Kenilworth Road again on Saturday for the Middlesbrough game. Please reward him with something better, Town.
There were some Luton successes at the weekend, though.
There were.
Yeah, Sam King won his boxing match and
fight. They're not matches.
You're correct. You are correct. Yeah, fight. And Rivi Walcott Nolan got indoor bronze in the 1500 metres. She's from Luton, so congratulations to them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think, did I read the first bronze medal of that event that Great Britain have won?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. It's big.
Yeah.
Big result that for us.
Definitely notable. I can't remember if it was that or something, but it was particularly notable. They made a big thing of it on BBC because it was such an achievement.
Absolutely.
So yeah, congratulations. Absolutely. Yeah, some Luton successes. That was good. Let's hope we can follow that up on Tuesday night. Thanks for watching or listening, however it is that you consume this podcast. We really, really do appreciate all of your comments, all of your support. People who come up to me at games, I feel your pain. Hell, certainly felt it yesterday. That's for sure. Please do keep your comments coming in. If you do see me at a game, feel free to come up and say hello and let me know your opinions and things like that. And please do keep on subscribing. This is obviously a 3-game week. Podcasts are coming out thick and fast this week, and they might be at short notice as well because of the scheduling and everything else. If you've hit that subscribe button, you'll know exactly when all of our content drops. And, we're well on the way to 2,500 subscribers, aren't we? So we would love to get there by the end of the season if we possibly can. So if you know anyone who hasn't subscribed, give them a nudge for us.
Yeah, all you people that give us lovely comments, lovely comments, but still not subscribed, come on, just click the button.
Should say it doesn't cost anything, shouldn't we? Because it does sound like you have to pay. You do not have to pay. You do have to watch in my face, but you've already done that to get this far, so but you don't have to pay.
No, it's just a free subscribe click thing. It just means that it's all good on this algorithm stuff, and we got a bloody clue about what that means, but it means good things if you click it.
Indeed so, yeah. Just before we go, tickets are still available for the Evening with John Still, Wednesday the 19th of March, 7:30, inside the Eric Morecambe Lounge. Listen, this guy is absolutely monumental in the history of this football club. Forget all of the stuff that's going on the pitch. Let's go and reminisce about some good times with a guy who is an absolute genius. And who knows, if enough of you turn up, you might convince him to come along and manage us for the rest of the season and get us out of this mess. I only say that because I put the initial post out on social media, and within about 5 minutes I had half a dozen saying, "Oh, can you ask him if he'll be our new manager? Can you ask him if he'll manage us?" I replied saying, "Well done, you won the sweepstake. You got in quicker than even I expected you to." But it was inevitable that we were going to get some of those comments.
Yes, I saw somebody yesterday that even mocked up a picture of Neil Warnock in a Luton jacket. Like, get him in, they said.
Times are tough.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they're that tough, though. That's for sure. Yeah, tickets still available. The link is on our website if you want to go to that. They're on sale until Sunday, the 16th of March. So and they're selling fast. So get your ticket quickly. If you want to be at that event, it should be a great night with a very, very great man.
He is. Yes, he is. I can confirm.
He's a good man. Thanks to the Barber Club and the Lower Level in Luton for hosting our studio, to Sean Grant and the Wolfgang for our intro music, and to Ed Smith Creative for all the designs that you see on set. Until next time, which will be a preview of, well, what has been called the biggest game since Wembley, from Jimbo and myself. Come on, you Hatters. Big, big, big performance needed Tuesday night.
I believe our supporters are the best supporters in the country.
I love this town. I love this town. I love this town. You know what I love about this town is actually you. Everyone in it has got this massive soul.
We're Luton people, and that's what we care about.